Whatever happened to predictability? I'm Ian. This is Casey. This is Justin. You know, we couldn't start the show without paying homage to Full House, one of my favorite childhood sitcoms. How you doing today, Casey?
I mean, the only thing that's predictable about this show is nobody's gonna watch.
Sounds about right.
You know, I bet you I haven't really looked at the demographics yet, but usually I bet you we have like a odd following in like the Czech Republic. Like there's probably like a local newspaper dedicated to this show in the Czech Republic.
Yeah, yeah.
In
They're-
Bratislava, Slovakia. Bratislava.
them and their 3 employees.
But yeah, man, there is nothing. It's kind of a slow. Basketball's picking up a little bit, but it just doesn't seem like there's too much going on compared to all the madness we've had recently in sports.
I mean, when you really break it down, though, Dallas Mavericks. I mean, obviously, no shade on Kyrie. Injuries happen, and no shade on Anthony Davis. Injuries happen. But this Luka trade now just keeps looking worse and worse and worse. I mean, you got to think Dallas has plummeted all the way to the 10th seed. The Lakers are sitting there on the 2nd seed on a 6 or 7 game win streak at this point. Luka's finally starting to get his feet established under him with the Lakers. They look like true title contenders. And the Mavericks over here, lucky if they're going to even make a play-in game at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can now say who won that trade.
I don't think there was ever really any doubt to begin with. I mean, for maybe a season.
I agree. But even then, usually you need like 6 months post trade to say who won really with a trade like that. Yeah. But at least in the immediate aftermath, it's not even close.
Yeah, it's
the Lakers fleeced Dallas at this point.
They did, and it makes the Mavericks almost look like salty at this point for the reasonings that they're still indicating they traded Luka. I mean, when you trade, we were talking about this right after the trade happened, when you trade a 25-year-old who's in the prime of his career, who is arguably top 3 player in basketball for quote-unquote reasons of being out of shape, and then this is what happens. Your best player, who's probably Anthony Davis now overall, injures himself at first 3 quarters of his tenure with the Mavericks. And now Kyrie tears an ACL, who probably won't be back until 2026. I just don't see anything positive right now if I was a Mavericks fan. Nothing. I don't think they're going to be in that 10th seed for too long. They're going to be playing themselves right out of the play-in very, very shortly.
Do you think Kyrie will come back, or do you think this injury is enough to possibly make him consider hanging it up?
He'll be back. If I'm not mistaken, he tore his ACL once before in 2015 during in the game 1 of the finals against the Warriors. But other than that, I don't think Kyrie's had any real significant injuries.
But he's beyond his prime years. That's why I ask.
It's a fair question. I don't think it's enough for him to hang it up. Kind of like with the Joel Embiid thing, how you were asking if it's time for him to hang it up. I still think Kyrie's young enough where he can bounce back from this and not necessarily be back to prime Kyrie, but still be a valuable second option on a contender.
Sure. It's when you have the point guards who, like, obviously there's no one in the league who has better handles than Kyrie. I don't think it's even close.
Yeah, it's not close at all. You're 100%.
But he relies on his jab step quite a bit.
Yeah, he does.
So that's going to, if he doesn't have that jab step, he's not gonna be the Kyrie that everyone knows.
No, he definitely won't. And Kyrie, ever since he left Cleveland, it's just been one miss after the other when you really look at it. I mean, Boston injury, he had that significant injury in 2018 that kept him out for the playoffs in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously the Celtics went to the Eastern Conference Finals, lost to Cleveland in 7 games, and then he departed for Brooklyn, and they had one season where they made it past the first round, and after that, it's just been another downward spiral. I mean, he's obviously in Dallas now, and they're not going anywhere, and I don't believe that they are going to have a significant impact for years to come. Yeah, they made the finals last year, sure, but could definitely make the case that it was much so more about the great play of Luka Doncic than it was about Kyrie Irving. And they lost that series in 5 games, and it wasn't a close 5 games either.
No, it probably should have been 4 had it not been for like the one token game that Dallas took.
Yeah, I was going to say, the one stinker that Boston threw out, that's really what it was. They had a horrible game performance in game 4, and Dallas blew them out, which is fine. That happens in series. But Kyrie, obviously, the reason that he left Cleveland, he wanted to be the main focal point of a team. He felt like he was the leader, and he was ready to lead his own team. And that's why he went to Boston to handle that young team. And clearly he wasn't ready. I think he potentially he made the biggest mistake of his career by leaving LeBron and Kyrie in Cleveland.
Look, I'll give my opinion on the basketball side of it in a second, but the Mavericks, I mentioned it yesterday in the group chat. They raised up their season tickets net prices for next season by an average. This is according to the AP News, 8.61%, and the increase is due to ongoing investments in the team and fan engagement. This guy's bold. I know Anthony Davis is a 10-time All-Star, but I mean, we know from the offset who won the trade, and we hear all these things about Luka not being in shape. Did we not see what Luka just did this past Western Conference Finals, these past finals? And yeah, he hasn't had any significant injury at this point. Yeah, his weight is a little. Luka's not to the point I think where you could think it's concerning, and he's still one of the best players in the world. I don't see there had to be something deeper going on in Dallas. I'm sure we'll hear about it on a podcast in 10 years, but the Mavericks are absolutely. I mean, the Lakers are second place in the West right now, and they are absolutely looking like a machine. The Mavericks, they're probably gonna get 10 seed. Suns ain't gonna catch them. I don't think there's enough time, but I mean,
people can say. I'm sorry, but we're saying early this season that the Lakers weren't going anywhere.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did.
I had the Lakers in the playoffs. I thought they'd be a 5 or 6 seed, but nobody saw the trade happening. Nobody pictured Luka Doncic teaming up with LeBron. And can we just give LeBron some flowers for a minute here? Think about it. In the past 10 days to 14 days, 10, whatever you want to call it, right? 10 days, 2 weeks, that's 3 weeks, something of that nature. LeBron's been the best player in the league.
Hasn't really been close either.
He's been on a tear. Look, he's outplayed Jokic. He's outplayed Ant. He's outplayed Kyrie for a good majority of the portions of these games. He's been more the main focal point than Luka Doncic. The Lakers are on a 6-game win streak. I believe they've won what? If I'm not mistaken, 13 out of 15 at this point. They are playing
12. Yeah, but close to like that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They're playing the best basketball in the league right now, and I don't think it's close.
It's not. They're playing defense too, so shout out to the Lakers.
You can make the argument that the Thunder are still a little bit better in terms of overall the stretch, but you can't deny the run that they've gone on.
It would be a tough call for me right now in a 7-game series. I would lean towards the Lakers over the Thunder right now in a 7-game series.
Right now, I would agree. Right now, I would say the Lakers have a slight edge.
And if the playoffs started today, well, assuming this team wins the play, and the Lakers will play the Clippers for the first time ever in the playoffs. And I think the Lakers are going to bash them if they play. I think the Lakers look really good. I think Luka and LeBron, I mean, because we talked about it a little bit last week about LeBron playing off the ball. You talk about in the playoffs, Luka could get his own shot. There's nobody you could double team on that team. And I think Connect will find his rhythm. Connect's going to get open shots in the playoffs. There's no way that you can single cover LeBron or single cover Luka the whole game in the playoffs when they're going to have the ball at the end. So it's going to be fun, man. It's going to I got Lakers Celtics in the finals as of right now. So
let me ask you guys this. I know we started on the Mavericks, but I just kind of want to get your guys' opinion on this question. Is how well he's playing this late into his career starting to become a determining factor in the GOAT conversation between LeBron and MJ?
I saw a stat. I have to find it somewhere, but of the non-championship years, comparatively, MJ's blowing LeBron out of the water in terms of accolades. like defensive player of the year, that kind of thing, all scoring leader, that kind of thing. So to that, and it's not even close. It's still MJ on that front, but for how long, for at his age and where he's playing, that's going to be a determining a definitely a contributing factor to the conversation.
Yeah, it's got to be, right. I mean, when you're talking about the greatest of all time, I think you have to take everything into a You can't say, "Oh, this matters, but this doesn't." So yes, of course, the accolades matter, but if we're talking about accomplishments, right? If we're talking about just accolades and accomplishment, neither one of them would be the GOAT. It'd be either Bill Russell or Kareem. We're not
maybe
talking
Will.
about
Maybe Will, I think.
Yeah. I mean, if we can't base it just strictly off accomplishments, yes, they have a contributing factor, as you said, with LeBron's playing this well and this late in his career, but it's not the end all be all.
No, I agree.
What do you think?
But again, for me, there'll always be 1A, 1B because I've seen them both play in my lifetime. So there's that.
Yeah.
So
no question.
No, I align more with what Casey was saying. I do think it's a contributing factor. I mean, because it's not like LeBron is some six man off the bench. Like,
right,
he's the best player on the team before Luka got here. So, I mean, and this is really the best time where you could sit back and say he's not the best player on his own team. And
the first time
he could easily win Finals MVP. I mean, on any given night, LeBron could be the best. We all know what LeBron could do. So, especially considering what he's doing now, I think it'll be a contributing factor. I don't think it'll necessarily be. I think when you guys said the end all be all, I don't think it'll be the thing that puts him over the top. But I definitely think it could be used in his resume. Because, like I said, like he's still playing at a high level. It's not like he's coming off as a six man or now he's just a shooter. Like he's still the best player on the court just about every time he steps on the floor.
Yeah, no, he absolutely is.
And then the crazy.
No, go ahead.
My bad. No, the crazy thing, I was just saying one more thing is, I mean, up until 5 years ago, I mean, I still would have said LeBron be the person I started. I mean, up until, he was in his mid-30s, I still would have been the person he still would have been the person I started a team with. And honestly, a lot of people thought that LeBron was going to age poorly because his jumper, we weren't sure what his jumper was going to look like later in his career. And now, I mean, he shoots with ease. I mean, it can fluctuate, but I mean, he stays, 35% consistently on a regular basis. He will dip below it, but I mean, he's not the liability we thought he'd be at this point shooting threes.
Oh, I think as of right now, I think LeBron is the best shooter that LeBron has been in his entire career is right now. And Ian, you're right. We did think that about LeBron because so much of his game was based on strength, quickness, athleticism, getting to the hole. But he still has a lot of that too, which is a crazy thing. In his 22nd season, age 40, he's still one of the most athletic people on the court every time he steps on. He still drives to the basket almost better than anyone in the league at this point in time. And he's playing good defense. If you're a fan of LeBron as a human or not, because some people have their determining factors about that, but when it comes to LeBron James as the basketball player, you just got to give him his flowers and the admiration for still being this elite of a player this late into his career. And it's almost annoying to go on these little threads and Instagram posts and Facebook when you read the comments and they say, "Oh, LeBron or LaQueen or LaPrince James," everything they do is a negative comment about him. And when you read a lot of the stuff they say, you can instantly pick out who watches basketball and who doesn't. When you criticize LeBron, you can talk about a few certain things, right? You can talk about
free throw
shooting, getting coaches fired, not always necessarily being the strongest late in the clutch early in his career, not late in his career. Roster manipulation, for sure. But when people are criticizing LeBron, like the actual player inside the game of basketball, if you're criticizing that, you don't know what you're talking about.
Right. It's not the player, the personality that you really can only criticize.
Yes, absolutely.
Speaking of, we were talking about the Mavericks collapsing. I know that you had some trepidations this last week about the Celtics.
So let me just say this, right? So on Friday, they got off to a 25-3 start against Cleveland. 25-3. In case you didn't hear what I said 25-3.
Before you go on, let me look up the score from the game. Was this Saturday?
Friday.
Okay, give me one.
My point being, because you in true Casey Merritt fashion, like this team is fast. They did. Donovan Mitchell 3 down 41.
You got damn, bro.
36 and Jalen Brown's up 37.
But that's all they had. They had no Kristaps, no Drew Holiday. They still have no Kristaps, no Drew Holiday.
Okay, hold on. So I'm going to dive deeper into this, right? So not only did that, they had a 17-point lead in the third quarter. Ended up losing that game. I was over it the next day. Is what it is. It's basketball. Things happen. Sunday, right? They have a game at home against the Denver Nuggets. At one point in that game in the third quarter, they were up 20 again. And at some point in the fourth quarter, Denver cut it to 4. Obviously, Boston clutched up, ended up winning that game. I'm not sure what happens to the Celtics when they go up 15, when they go up 20. I don't understand what switch doesn't get flipped in their head. That yawn sign, that's perfect, Justin. They get lackadaisical. They start just half-assing it on defense. They're taking contested threes very early in the shot clock, and they let teams creep back in. This is going to be an issue in the playoffs. I am not looking forward to one of these matchups when it's going to be Cleveland, it's going to be OKC, it's going to be the Lakers. I'm not sure where this bug is going to come back to bite us, but it's going to happen. I was watching it creep away slowly on Friday. I had the main game on my tablet, on my iPad. I had the Celtics game on my TV, right? Just going back and forth, watching both games at the same time. But at some point, I found myself not watching the main game anymore because I was so enamored with how the Celtics were choking this game away. Once Cleveland took the lead, and it was at one point, they only went up by 1, about 4 minutes left. Texted my buddy, big Celtics fan like I am. I said, it's over. This game's done. He texted back in about 30 seconds. He said, I understand they lost the lead. They're down 1. All they got to do is get an open shot. They'll be fine. And I said, no, you don't understand.
Yeah.
They need to leave. They need to pack up their things, get off the floor now, and forfeit the game. It's over. I was not. I go back and forth with this, right? I've said this 100 times. I go back and forth 100 times on this show, too. I think the Celtics are very capable of winning the championship. I think when they're firing on all cylinders, they're the best team in basketball. But I do not think they are going to be that in the playoffs. I think they've gotten their ring. They're chilling. I don't think they have heart. I hate to say it.
Again, the biggest thing I would say about them choking the game, because it was a choke. There's no denying it was a choke. They are not, and still are not at full strength. At full strength, if that happened, then I would say, then let's put the hand over the panic button. I'm not panicking. Because Cleveland is elite. They are an elite team. They should be expected to be able to come back from a deficit like that. Not necessarily to win, but you should be you had to expect to run. You had to expect to run.
Sure. Yeah, I didn't expect to win that game by 22 points or higher. No. I expected Cleveland to have a run. I 100% expected that. But for Boston to blow the game, it's not the fact that they blew the game outright. You know what I mean? It's
how they blew it.
They surrendered a good portion of the lead for a little bit into the, going into halftime. But then midway through the third quarter, they got it back up to 17. A 17-point lead in the third quarter and could not hang on.
And they had last year. They had the killer instinct, man. I mean, you guys had a couple instances in the playoffs, but I mean, last year they. I mean, look at the finals
Evan
against
Mobley went off,
Dallas.
and Evan Mobley went off in the fourth. Absolutely went off.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man.
But,
And Cleveland's no joke either because you have Mobley, you have Allen, and you have
and
Donovan
Garland.
Mitchell. I mean,
And
you have
Garland.
and the back, yeah, Garland and Mitchell in the backcourt. So, and then you have guys like Shrews. Like Cleveland's no joke, bro. And I think, like Casey said, even though I've been really high on Boston, higher than I normally am, and higher than Casey is, I definitely agree that if you don't learn how to close teams out, because 25-3, man, at the offset of the game, that's crazy. And you guys were the home team, no?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're the home team. So I don't have issues in close games, in nip and tuck, back and forth games. Those games, Boston's fine. They clutch up in the fourth and end up winning. It's the games where they start strong. Those are the games that are starting to worry me the most. When I see in the 7 minutes left in the first, Boston's up 7, then fucking we'll just throw out Cleveland that they played, right? Darius Garland turnover, lob pass to Brown for an alley oop dunk. Crowd's going nuts, up 9. I'm like, oh shit, okay, this is where they're gonna choke. For some reason, it's almost like Boston thinks that other teams are just going to fold when they get a lead and they start playing comfortably. And if you play comfortably in the NBA, that's when you choke leads away.
So of the 3 games they played this weekend, they won against the Pistons, did they not?
No,
Or
they lost.
No,
they lost
Pistons
that,
beat
they
them.
lost that one. They lost that one. Okay. I mean, of the 2 big games of the weekend, they did take down Denver, so there's something to be said about that.
Yeah, but that's another game where they were up 20 and Denver cut it.
Again, I'm not giving him a pass. I'm not giving him a pass. My point being, they didn't get swept all 3 games.
Mm.
They didn't. I mean, that's true.
A win's a win.
Oh, W's a W. W's a W. But again, what my concern would have been higher had they been at full strength, which they're not.
Sure, I get that, and they got Portland tomorrow. They're on a home stretch. I think they got 5 more games straight left at home. On Saturday, I don't know if you guys saw who they have on Saturday, but that's sniffing game of the year in my opinion.
Isn't that the Laker game?
It is.
I'm looking.
Is it in LA or is it in Boston?
It's in Boston.
Ooh.
7:30 p.m. I'm guessing 8:30 p.m. Eastern, right? Because it says 7:30 for me. I'm thinking that's.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the games where I tell the wife, I tell the kid, don't bother me for 2.5 hours.
Lakers, Celtics, they're both the 2 seeds in their respective conferences.
That's a finals preview. That's a finals preview.
You guys can probably expect a few texts in the group chat during that game.
They're fucking done. They're done. This team's trash.
We're
not going anywhere. It's over in 3 minutes in the game.
You know, there's like a sound effects or like there's stuff in like Messenger where you can make when somebody says a certain thing, like the whole fucking chat, like shit just starts flying or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do that
like buzzwords. Certain kind of buzzwords will do that, right?
I'm gonna do that for this game's over. That shit's gonna be going crazy on Saturday. They could be winning 3-0 and they turn the ball over and you say this game's over.
That's true. It's completely true.
I hope Porzingis is back Saturday.
Let's see.
Yeah. It's Holiday and Porzingis because without Holiday, you don't have the best defensive backcourt in the game. Because you're going to have to. Because Derek White is good, but you're not going to defensively win a game if you're having to put Jaylen Brown and defensive wide in the back, and Derek White in the backcourt.
No, yeah, that's not going to go well.
Ian, that's what it's been for the last week and a half, 2 weeks.
So, Ian, obviously you're a Clippers fan, and you guys, I'm pretty sure, just had back-to-back games against the Lakers and lost both of them. What is your thoughts on the Clippers so far this year? And also, not even just the Clippers, is it just me? Am I going crazy when I say this? Or is Kawhi no longer a top 10 player in the league?
No, you're not going crazy when you say it. Clippers, to be completely honest with you, most of my sports teams this year, it's kind of been about middle of the road. We really haven't been, I mean, except the fucking Angels. Even the Ducks are fighting for a playoff spot. I'm really not all too concerned. I definitely don't think he's a top 10 player in
Is
the
he a
league
top
anymore.
20 anymore?
He's not held. I mean, I don't even to name 20 guys above Kawhi. It might take a second, but I mean, he's not
Wouldn't
healthy.
take a lot of seconds. Wouldn't take a lot of seconds right now.
Take about 20 seconds. But no, I don't think he's that bad. But it's just really hard because he just stays hurt. I mean, every year I like Norman Powell more and more, but it just I don't see us doing anything serious in the playoffs. When the move happened, I did like the Ben Simmons move, contrary to popular belief.
He's good.
And he's out. But yeah, I mean, our defense is looking good, especially going out in defensive field goal percentage. But I don't see us really having any favorable matchups even with the healthy Kawhi, if it comes to a playoff game and we have to play a team like the Lakers. I just don't think we have the firepower. I think
the only team in the West I could see the Clippers really having a chance at right now is Sacramento.
I could see us being pretty good next year. I could see us doing some things in the offseason, especially like I said, bringing in Ben Simmons. And now dude, I wanted so much for him to be good when he came into the NBA. Didn't work out, but we'll see what happens. He just don't care, but it's just the stuff he does in the vision and his size, the stuff he could do at his size. It's just insane. He's a great defender.
You guys remember when everyone was saying Ben Simmons was a jump shot away from becoming LeBron?
Yeah, I remember that.
Bro, his vision's crazy.
When he was a 3-pointer, was it a jump shot or was it a 3-pointer away from becoming LeBron?
A jump shot, period.
Yeah,
okay. Wasn't sure if he was either one.
You got to think, like, he had excellent court vision. He's great size, very fast, athletic, tremendous taking the ball to the basket. He was a phenomenal just basketball player. Just couldn't shoot. Not even couldn't shoot. Do you guys remember the videos that he would put up in these summer leagues and rec leagues where he'd go in and...
He wouldn't shoot.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't shoot in the NBA, but do you know...
yeah, he was just out there splash. That's a 24-hour fitness.
I know, but it's not that he didn't have the ability to shoot. I don't know if he was scared or what it was, but he refused to take 3-point shots in the NBA. He's made, 2 in his career?
If that.
I
know he's made at least one.
There's so many different factors. It could be him being scared. It's also you're in a system, and it's guys are really trying a lot harder to contest your shot. And then not only that, it's a depth perception too. When you're shooting in an arena, you don't have a wrestling mat, something like that right behind the backboard. So all those things play into factor. But all he had to do is develop a halfway decent jumper. He didn't even have to become a good shooter. Just become like Gian. You don't even have to become a decent shooter as Giannis is. Just make it to where you remember how they used to guard Rondo back in the early days in Boston.
Then he got a halfway decent three.
Yeah, man. It's like I said. I like him. I like the defense.
Crappy. Yeah, but he could have as crappy a jump shot as Kristaps Porzingis, and he'd have been fine. Because Porzingis, great. Porzingis is 7 feet tall, so he doesn't need to have much of a jumper. But he could have had as
a lot better of a shooter since he's gotten to Boston.
Oh yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong. I agree. But my point is because Porzingis just really and shoots. That's all Simmons had to do, really.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, Ben Simmons. Justin Duncan, shooting coach. No, I mean, seriously, though, like, it's just something simple. And it's just taking the shots. But, like, when the NBA, I mean, they just did the organization not have enough faith in him? I mean, something had to, were they telling him don't shoot? Because, goddamn, if the team wants you to shoot, you're going to shoot the ball. He made him a lot of money. He had a lot of leverage. Shoot the damn ball.
I'll tell you what, when Philadelphia lost confidence in Ben Simmons was that Atlanta series back in 2019.
What did he shoot? 28%?
Was it 2018 or 2019?
2021, where he passed up the open layup and
yes,
wide open. Oh, see, and that's why I think it looked like they were in his head, or he was in his own head for missing all those shots because, dude, he was wide. I mean, you saw how open he was. He was right there, like literally could have reached up. Laid it in, but he's what, 28? Something like that now?
He's 30.
He's young still, very young still.
Is he? I thought he was almost 30.
Let me see.
He came in the league in 2018 because
he's 28.
Yeah, okay. Young still. His career is not over by any means. Like, he, of course, had that injury bug, and then for some reason just didn't want to play when he was with Brooklyn. I'm not sure what it was, but he just did not want to play with Brooklyn.
He refused to play in the series when we were going against him and we swept Brooklyn. He just didn't play. He decided to show up in street clothes the entire series.
Oh,
He
that
could
had
have
me
played.
so pissed, bro. I had
He could have played, but he chose not to.
I was so pissed.
Was that the series where in the first game Tatum hit the buzzer beater?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Tatum. I was so pissed during that fucking game. Tatum. I still remember that bullshit. Little bullshit ass spin move too. At the buzzer.
That's all it took.
It really was all it took. Anything else you guys want to cover with the NBA?
Quickly. Is Cooper Flag in the NBA next year? Or is he staying one more year at Duke?
He needs to take his fucking ass to the NBA and get a mansion.
He has to.
Like,
I mean,
he
can get a mansion at Duke. He's gonna get $4 million.
You don't think he's gonna get 20 plus? I know he's gonna be. Man, just get his ass to the NBA. Like, let's just stop playing all this BS.
What? Go play for Charlotte?
Yeah.
Right now, he's slated to go play for San Antonio.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. Wemby, Cooper,
Coach Pop,
Chris Paul,
Aaron Fox, Chris Paul,
Stephon Castle. Like, they're gonna be nasty.
Get the fuck out of here, bro. No. Look, the NBA needs to maneuver this. They need to bring Cooper Flag to Beantown.
I've been saying that since
there is no way we're gonna end up with that kind of lottery pick. There's no.
It's gonna end
way.
up being like a Larry Bird situation somehow. Well,
yeah,
no, like Lynn Bias situation, because Lynn Bias, they won and then they somehow had the number 2 pick somehow. I forgot the.
He would be the icing on the cake for Boston right now.
But where would you put him right now?
Porzingis' spot.
Okay.
See ya, KP. Thanks.
Thanks for the ring, buddy.
Oh yeah,
title, bro.
The white kid from Boston or from New England,
Newport, Maine.
Like, that'd be crazy. I mean, dude, like I think the NBA game will suit. It seems like he can't really let loose at Duke. He had that nasty poster against Pitt. He has really good defensive awareness. Seems like he has good defensive instinct. His offensive game is growing, but it just doesn't feel like he has the.
But he doesn't have to because there's too many options at Duke right now.
Oh yeah, dude, they're fucking stacked, bro.
Can we talk about the developments? Shout out to Ben Simmons. Can we talk about the development in Cooper Flag's jump shot too? How improved that?
I mean, right now, if he was on the development team, he would have been on the Olympic team if it weren't.
Talk about working on your game.
He's cold. He's fucking cold. They won by like 40 yesterday against Wake Forest.
Yeah, and yeah.
He's nasty,
so
bro.
Before we get off any NBA topics, I know Justin wants to talk a little bit of baseball here. I'm gonna say one thing here about Saturday, boys. Celtics 118, Lakers 97.
I was going to say 116, 112 Celtics.
I'm calling a blowout Celtics win where they do not fumble the bag. They are going to get it early and sustain it, and they're going to blow the bitch-ass Lakers, even though I love LeBron, off the floor. It's that time of year, bro.
113.95 Lakers. Celtics ain't going to top 100 points.
Oof.
Okay.
Man, I swear. Man, remember when I said Alabama and Georgia would lose on the same day?
Yeah.
I'm not doing no stupid-ass speech. I'm not doing none of that shit.
Live on Mixed Reactions, you want to put $20 on the game?
You know I got a problem. Hey, what's the actual spread gonna be?
You both have a problem. Let's just be straight. You both have a problem. I'm calling Gamblers Anonymous on both your asses.
1-800-GAMBLER.
No spread. Just win-loss. I got Celtics.
Money line. Just money line it.
I got the book. I got the app on my phone.
Let's do it. $20.
No, I'm saying I got the sports betting app on my phone.
Yeah, I know what you said, but
I can make much more profitable bets. No, I'm just playing. I'll think about it. Because I already got the money loaded on my shit. And then if I lose, then I got to send the shit. And I got to fucking load the bitch on my Cash App. Where like at this, I just cash out. Even though it is fun. Like I do like betting with my friends. Sometimes it's more fun. But then it's like, damn. Like it's just $20. I'm good right now, man. I'm good right now. But I will keep that wager in mind.
all right. So let's talk America's pastime, Justin.
Shifting gears. So with the one thing I want to ask you guys about more than anything was the challenge system to balls and strikes.
Don't like it.
Any particular reason why you don't?
Oh, I guess my thought process on it is it almost takes out the human element of the game. I know there's a lot of scrutiny from what was his name? The umpire last year, Angel Fernandez.
Angel Hernandez.
He's terrible.
Angel Hernandez.
He's gone. He's gone. Thank God.
He keeps trying to sue, right?
He does.
But I hate being one of those old people that's like, we gotta cling to what we have. But baseball is America's pastime. I like the pitch clock. I think that was a great move. But the whole point of the pitch clock was to speed the game process up. If you can challenge balls and strikes, don't you feel that's going to almost inept the pitch clock?
Well, I don't know.
Not necessarily. No, because the balls and strikes challenge only is done. It only takes like a 5 to 10 second challenge. It's not they're going up to calling out to New York to review the plot, review the pitch. It's a real time challenge,
like tennis, like you were saying. I don't think you were here with me and Justin were talking about this before the show. It's like tennis or like the VAR for soccer. I think he was saying.
Is there a limit to the challenges per game?
Yes, there are 3 challenges per team per game total.
Damn, that's a lot.
But in a 9-inning game, that's not very much.
No,
like you said, it's a pretty quick thing. So, all right, yeah,
it's a 5. It only adds 5 to 10 seconds.
Okay.
I want to throw a scenario out there for you in this situation, and I want you to base this off your heart, right? Not based off the actual statistic of what it would be, right?
Okay, sure.
Say there's a perfect game on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Strike 3 gets called.
Mm-hmm.
Gets challenged, and it's a ball by a fraction, by a cunt hair, right? It's a ball.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it gets overturned to a ball, walked. Perfect game, over, because now they're not going to walk. Is that something that you would agree with? Because technically it's the correct call, but it's also erasing a moment in baseball history because there's so few perfect games.
Here's the difference with that. The batter wouldn't make that challenge. They wouldn't do that because it wouldn't. Now, again, if the batter, in terms of, because the MLB players know that when it's at that point in the kind of game, they're not going, unless you legitimately, like, you're not going to try to ruin.
What if it's a 1-0 game? I think
it would. It's a 1-0 game late in September. They're absolutely going to challenge if they're fighting for a playoff spot.
There's going to be a lot of situations. It's going to come situation to situation. But as a general rule, a batter is not going to try to ruin a pitcher's perfect game off of a technicality like that. They're going to take the pitch. If it's called strike 3, they're going to walk off the pitch. Walk off the field.
That's fair. But if it's like you said, it'd be situation by situation. But baseball is one of those sports to where, I kind of see both points. If it's gonna be a quick review, I'm totally fine with that. But I think baseball is one of those sports to where I'm not one of those people that's like keep it the same and these new changes are. But that is one of the sports I think we have to maintain some of the
allure.
Yeah, right. But at the same time, like for example, it's not like you're going to have every batter like challenging every single at bat, because that's not the case.
And that's people's fear.
That's what people were worried about when they were thought about this, that it was going to be a challenge every single pitch. That's not how it's working.
Mm-hmm.
But the only time you really see a batter really, I mean, there was this last weekend, there was Trey Turner and Max Scherzer in a spring training game. They challenged each other effectively, mostly just getting each other's heads. I mean, it was both pitches were close, but again, it was mostly out of sportsmanship. It was nothing like one was just gamesmanship, one was just, hey, how close really was it? That kind of thing. So I imagine when it comes to those kind of challenges, they're going to see that if indeed, okay, so they're going to gauge how close they're at the actual strike zone is being called in general. But you're not going to find, I mean, the only real time a batter's really going to bitch about a pitch or being called out is if they check screened or they didn't swing and there's like, no, I didn't go. But you can't challenge that.
It's just the location of whether it's out of the strike zone, right, is the only thing you can actually
exactly challenge. And the fact that you don't have, I mean, the umpires are in the league now. You're the old guard of umpires of the crap umpires like Joe West and Angel Hernandez are no longer umpiring, so you're not running into that anywhere near as much as you used to.
Angel Hernandez was so bad, bro. They have like 3 compilations on YouTube.
It was just god awful trash. I mean, you could throw a pitch and I'm the strike. I mean, I'm a bigger guy. I'm the strike zone, and he could have thrown the pitch could have landed and been like 3 persons over, and Angel Hernandez would have called it a strike. He was that bad.
That man just wanted to pack up and go home.
He wants to steal the MLB and live off like Bobby Bonilla.
It ain't gonna work because I hope this shit doesn't work.
July 1st, every July 1st, he gets $1 million.
Yes.
Angel Hernandez Day. That would be so. No, people would be mad. They wouldn't be laughing about that shit like if it was Bobby Bonilla. They'd be like, "Nah, we remember like you used to piss us off, and now you just." But it wasn't for. I haven't read the details. It was something about discrimination or something.
He was like racial discrimination or ethnic discrimination, which was total crap anyway. He was just a crap ump.
Hey, what's one team if you guys? I know we're gonna talk about some main hockey. This ain't really the question. It just kind of popped in my mind. What's one team if you guys could like be in the locker room? All the teams in history, like just bet like most fun team ever. I mean,
2004 Red Sox. 2004 Red Sox.
Yeah, it would have to be the 2004 Red Sox.
86.
03 and 04 Red Sox. Either one of them would have been great.
04. It's got to be 04 because I'd like to be in the locker room during the comeback because they called themselves the idiots first and foremost. Like that's just
the 86 Mets or the goddamn.
You weren't even alive for 86.
That's not fair.
Yeah, it is.
The Red Sox, they did that. They were panning Jack Daniels before the ALCS games, man. Like they were fucking hardcore. The Washington Capitals of like the mid 2010s, a bunch of Russian dudes in the motherfucking. I mean, Ovi, isn't he about to break the goal record? He's
going to. He's going to.
10 off right now.
10 or 11.
Either 9 or 10 off, but he's gonna break it, and no one thought it was possible.
Who's the record? Gretzky.
No one's gonna break Gretzky's points record. His goals record
behind Gretzky in the points record.
His points record is never getting challenged. I mean, Connor McDavid's got maybe the best chance of anyone, but he's still got a mile to go.
Wayne Gretzky could have never scored a goal in professional hockey and still would have been the all-time points leader. You know how ridiculous that is? Justin, that's why I think
undisputable. Undisputed. The only undisputed GOAT of any kind of sport, it's Wayne Gretzky. Undisputed.
Undisputed. Every other sport, you can make a case for another person. You cannot make a case for anyone other than Wayne Gretzky.
Every single other sport, somebody else is at least in the conversation. That is not the case with hockey. Like, there's nobody that's even. We thought it was going to be Crosby. I don't know about. I wasn't really around that. Maybe Lemieux around.
I mean, the Penguins have always had the ones who want like the great of the era, but not the greatest of all time.
Did they have Yager?
They had Yager, they had Lemieux, they had Malkin, they had Crosby. The Penguins had been like the elite. If you're going to have one of the best players of all time, of the best players, it's probably on the Penguins, but not the greatest ever. And that was is Wayne Gretzky.
The Penguins are one of the most. What's the word I'm looking for? It's going to take a second for me to think of the correct wording for this. They are one of the most underrated, more pinnacle sports franchises in the history of sports.
Mm-hmm.
Really talks about the importance of the Pittsburgh Penguins to the NHL.
Well, not even that. I mean, even when you're talking about Pittsburgh in general, you'll talk about the Steelers and probably the Pirates or Roberto Clemente, their World Series of the '70s.
That's all. But that's all you got.
Penguins.
You can talk about the Pirates. Maybe Andrew McCutcheon and the maybe.
Well, yeah, but I still
much.
don't think the Penguins come to people's mind first. Is what I'm saying.
No, it's the Steelers first.
Yeah,
no, but they should. They should.
But they should. They should.
They won.
Because I'm pretty sure the Penguins have more championships than the Steelers anyway.
Do they?
I think so.
Crosby, they've had 3 since Crosby's been there, right? Yeah, because they won back-to-back in 16 and 17.
I think they had 8 total, 8 or 9 cups.
Because they had beat Detroit a couple years before that, or like 6 years.
Yeah, so they won in 08, and they pretty sure it was either 16-17 or 17-8. It was 16-17.
They won in 96, if I recall correctly. Let me just double check that. I'm pulling it up right now.
But yeah, no, the Penguins though, they I mean since we're talking about hockey, man, the Blues, I remember when they just came out the blue and won the Stanley Cup and no pun intended in 2019.
Yeah, against Boston.
Yeah, it was 7 games, I think. I think they closed it out in Boston, I think.
They did. Say the Bruins have lost their last 2 Stanley Cups because they went in 2013 against the Blackhawks, lost in 6, and they lost.
That was rough. That clinching goal.
Yeah, that was. I mean, the Bruins, they're a shell of themselves. Their season's over, so I can't get into the NHL right now. I'm trying. It just, you remember how a while ago, Sean, we were having this conversation. Ian, you were a part of this actually. This was back in 2011, something of that nature. He was saying how he can't get into the NBA anymore, and the best basketball is in college basketball. And me and you were on the fence. You're like, oh, I can see it from both sides. But I was firmly, I was like, no, fuck no. College basketball can't sniff the NBA. I'm like that right now, but with hockey. Like, I would much rather sit down and watch a college hockey game than an NHL game every time. Even if it's not.
So Pittsburgh's won 5.
After the main game, I watched BC UNH. And then after that, I watched Minnesota and Penn State on Friday.
Really?
Yeah.
You watch Minnesota Penn State college hockey, you're a real one. Oh, no.
It was interesting. It was because I turned it on. It was on Saturday. My apologies.
It's not the Hockey East, though.
It was after BC UNH, which we got to talk about UNH's goaltender, Domingo. Or Domingo, whatever his name is. We got to talk about him. He had an Alvin Boya type debut. Anyways, after that, I was like, shit, what else is on? Because I have Hulu Plus with all the live sports, right? So I'm just flipping through everything. And I'm like, oh, shit, Penn State, Minnesota. Because Penn State is a potential matchup for Maine in the tournament. So I'm like, fuck it, let's see what's going on here. Penn State looked pretty damn good. They beat Minnesota on Friday. They ended up losing on Saturday. But they looked good, and it was an interesting game. I couldn't do that with NHL. Like, I'm looking through right now on my Hulu Sports. There's 10 NHL games on. I couldn't care to watch a single one of them. I got the Knicks and the Warriors on in the background.
See, I don't know, man. And, I know you also have a Hope connection with the team, but, me personally, when I go for – because, I mean, California, I never had a reason to watch college hockey, so I was watching NHL. But when I go from watching NHL to college hockey and then back to watching NHL, the speed is just so
night and day.
Yeah, the play of hockey in NHL, much better. No question. Not saying that whatsoever. Much better play, for sure. I just can't get into it.
Yeah. I mean, especially, and I mean, you guys have a hell of a team because that's so cool, man. That you got that college hockey. So that I'm saying that seriously because that's how probably how Arkansas is with football. I mean, you see the all the Hogs stuff around, which it was a beautiful campus, by the way. I mean, when Maine is good, they were actually saying it during one of the Maine broadcasts. It was one of the games a couple months ago. When they're good, when Boston College, Minnesota, when those teams are good, it's better for college hockey. It's cool if you have your Arizona States or your Gales or your Quinnipiacs, but when you have those blue bloods, I think with any sport like Alabama college football, Texas, Cowboys. shit's never gonna happen. But you get my point.
No, I get that for sure. I mean, yeah, the Maine's definitely one of those pinnacle teams in college hockey. And speaking of that, let's talk a little bit of Maine here. They got 6 good points at home this weekend against Vermont. They had, I believe, it was a 4-1 win, and then a
4-1, then 4-3.
4-3. That's right. Not the strongest performance on Saturday. Obviously, they still got the win, but with a team like Vermont, you definitely expect a 2 to 3 goal victory both nights. Mm-hmm. Not going to sit here and have too much complaints about what I saw. I think they're ready for the playoffs. I think this weekend is huge. I mean, they need to. Friday is the biggest game of the year for Maine so far. If they win that, they are in huge contention for the 1 seed in Hockey East, and they can potentially win it. If BC happens to fall to Merrimack, which very, very unlikely.
But Merrimack has been sneaky. They've pulled off upsets this year that you wouldn't expect. They upset Providence at home twice.
Yeah. So, Justin, what if Maine gets 6 and BC just gets 1 point? I don't know the point totals.
So right now, Maine is behind 4 points to BC with 2 games to play, and BC has 1. So BC doesn't play until Saturday. Maine plays Friday and Saturday. So going into Saturday, it will be determined who is the number 1 seed potentially. So
if Maine loses, they have no shot for the 1
right. If Maine loses, it doesn't matter because Maine has to get at least 5 points on the weekend. At least 5. So as of right now, if Maine wins Friday, then BC has to win in regulation or win the shootout.
Okay.
They need 2 points to clinch.
They probably will end up doing that. I can't see.
They probably will. But if Maine gets 6, BC has to get more than 2. Has to get 2.
Yes. Yeah, because I could see Maine going into UMass and sweeping potentially, but UMass, let's not mistake UMass for some cellar dweller.
UMass isn't a splash. They're in the tournament.
Yeah,
UMass is going to be in the NCAA tournament.
Yes.
Granted, the last time that Maine played UMass, Alvin Boya made the luckiest damn save ever.
Yeah, he did.
The luckiest save ever.
Yeah, he did.
Other than Jonathan Quick with the Rangers last week or week before with his crazy, also UMass Amherst alum, mind you, Jonathan Quick. Hockey East sends out the best goalies ever. Throw that out there too.
I didn't know he went there. He played for the Kings, right? I mean, Jonathan Quick.
He played for the Kings. He played for Jonathan Quick's been a bit of a journeyman.
Yeah. Who's he playing for now?
He plays for the Rangers.
Really? Is he a starter? He didn't play for the Kings, did he?
No. Sherskin played for the. Yeah, Quick's now. I think their starter. I think.
Is Swayman still starting with the Bruins?
No, he's split in top with Korpislav. But I can get into a Swayman topic about that another time. Yeah.
Swayman wants out of Boston.
Yeah, Boston won't pay him, and Swayman wants out. And I can't entirely say I blame him. The ownership there is not great.
No, it's fucking horrible.
They just traded Trent Frederick to the Oilers.
So before we get into the question, you guys want to touch just a little brief on the NFL real quick? I don't know if you guys saw this.
Quick thing I'm going to say before we get to before we leave college hockey topic. I think Maine will get the regular season title.
I don't. I hope you're right. I just don't see it.
I think BC loses to Merrimack in regulation. Maine gets 5 points.
I would love to see it, buddy. I really would. I can't imagine.
It's a hard thing to sell. Don't get me wrong. It's a very hard. It's my bold prediction of the weekend. It's my bold prediction.
It's at Merrimack, right?
It's at BC.
It's at BC. Yeah, that makes it even tougher.
BC has hit the injury bug at the worst possible time. Steek is out.
There's still Boston College, man.
There's still Boston College. Don't get me wrong, but Steek is out. Leonard's sick.
I know, but there's players on Boston College's third line that would be starting for Merrimack.
There are players in the Boston College's third line that would be starting in the NHL. There's that.
Like they're different, bro.
They're built different. They're built different. I'm not disputing that one iota, but my bold prediction is BC will lose in regulation, and Maine will somehow, some way squirt by and get the regular season title for the first time since 1995.
That'd be amazing.
30 years.
30 years.
Yeah.
Let's switch to the NFL just for about 5 minutes or so before we get into the question here. I have just a generalized question. This isn't the question, but first of all, did you guys see that the Jets released Devontae Adams?
I did. I just saw it on my phone a little while ago.
They're going to try to get rid of Alan Lazard too if they can.
Which to me screams way more to your point, what you were saying, Justin. I'll admit I was wrong. Aaron Rodgers will not be back with the Jets next season. Not happening. But that says to me, it kind of brought this question to my head. Like I said, this is not the question. Who is one player from you guys' respective teams that you want gone?
That I want gone from my team?
Gone. That you want the Patriots to release now, tomorrow.
They won't, but I've got a couple.
Just one.
No. Jalen Polk or Kendrick Bourne. Take your pick.
Mine's Mozzie Smith.
Okay.
Worst pick Dallas had in the last 20 years. He's the worst rated defensive tackle in football.
Jalen Polk is like one of the worst wide receivers in football too.
Yeah, Jalen. Yeah, he's bad. What about you, Ian? Who's someone you want the Rams to let go?
That's a fucked up question. First of all,
it is a screwed up question.
That's a really. That was a good.
Matthew Stafford, because now you're having a mortgage the rest of your season.
I was thinking about Stafford.
Because now you're mortgaging the season on him.
You want Jimmy G taking your snaps next year, Ian?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it is what it is. Like, we got Stafford for this year. We got to just roll with it. There's not really anybody necessarily. Like I said, I was for the most part happy with our year last year. If I had to choose one guy,
who's their running back?
I mean, Kyron Williams, and he had a hell of a year. So I'm definitely.
Yeah, I just couldn't think of his name.
Yeah, but he had a hell of a year.
Wasn't suggesting that he should be the guy to go. I'm just curious, what was his name? I can't remember.
Oh no, you're good. No, he.
Is there like a corner that consistently gets flags? Is there a receiver who drops passes? Is there an old lineman who constantly gets holdings or misses blocking assignments? Like, there's got to be somebody.
The entire Patriots offensive line can just go except David Andrews. the entire offensive line go by.
Why don't you get Shaq Mason back from Houston? He can lead the league in holding again.
Shaq Mason would be a better upgrade than what we have now.
I mean, even our kicking game was fine for the most part. But if I had to choose one guy to go, like I said, I mean, all of our guys are young for the most part. I don't want to choose Tutu.
No, Tutu was nice.
I don't. Like I said, I don't really hate him. But Blake Corum, just because I don't see him having too much of a future with us. I think we're good with Kyron Williams, and I think we could find a better back than Corum. Like I said, I don't really necessarily dislike him. I just don't see long term.
I like
especially with his small stature, how he's gonna.
Yeah, I liked him in Michigan, but he doesn't. It doesn't really fit well in that system. I don't see him.
Me either.
I can see him with Arizona.
Yeah, no, I can't. I mean, him and Tyler, they're gonna be able to see eye to eye, Kyler Murray. So,
well, Arizona's gonna need a secondary back too, because James Conner, of course, is still going to be Arizona's starting running back. And outside of 1 yard touchdown runs, what is James Conner really providing Arizona at this point in time in his career?
He's a bottom bottom third running back in the league. I don't think. I mean, yeah. I mean, maybe he gets there, gets a chance to be the primary back.
I'll give you Ramondre Stevenson for a third rounder and Corum.
That would be good for both teams, actually.
Really? I would take his shit. I mean,
they'll take Antonio. They'll take Gibson be the bell cow because he could be a bell cow. He's been a bell cow before. And
latest draft mocks, they have Ashton going to Dallas at 12.
Wait, did you just say give Stevenson and a third to us for Corum?
No, Corum and a third for Stevenson.
For Stevenson.
Oh, Corum and a third.
We're not giving away more draft picks. But no, I'll take Stevenson. Shit, give us a little. Give Stafford one more year to try to win a championship.
So before we get
into
the question, boys,
I do have a question.
Looking forward. Oh, go ahead.
Oh shit, no! If you said you had one, go ahead, because I did have one all week, but I actually forgot what it was. I didn't hear if you said you had one just now, so go ahead.
No. I would say before we get into it, I just want to ask, what's one sporting event you fellas are looking forward to this weekend?
Maine, UMass.
What's your Ian?
College baseball.
I was gonna say Central Arkansas plays at home on Friday. Riverside, we close out the season this weekend. We're looking like we'll be the third or the fourth seed, but regardless of what happens this weekend, our quality of opponent's gonna be the same. So whoever Central Arkansas plays, I want to say. Oh no, the women are playing in the tournament, and they're actually playing here in the ASUN tournament. I think Alabama Auburn play this weekend. Few different things for basketball that are on. Duke plays somebody good. I forgot who it was this weekend.
I think you boys know what mine is. I don't even have to say it.
No, you're good.
Oh, you know what? I changed mine. Celtics Lakers.
Yeah, that's 100% mine this weekend. 100% Celtics Lakers.
Ah, fuck.
So who's got the question?
I do. Give me a second. I had it, bro, all week. Let me just think of it because I wasn't prepared to do the question, but I was. Oh fuck! It's starting to come to me. They got you. Okay. So, here's a question. I'm gonna try to word it as best I can. If you're a coach, the leader of an organization, we all have our different philosophies. I think a lot of things is situation by situation. But what's one thing that you would base your coaching leadership style around? I'll just give some examples before I go into my answers to give you guys some kind of thing. Culture, conditioning, defense, offense, recruiting out of state, just different shit. Like, what do you think, if you were a coach of a team, what would be your biggest key to success? What's the biggest thing that you would use to help your team win?
Are we talking about professional or college sports?
I
mean, shit, that's a good.
Honestly, for me, that wouldn't really matter because I actually could take my track and field coach mentality, because that's what I would say. Is you got to be able to compete, not necessarily win every single time, but be in the mix. You have to be able to compete.
Here's why I think it would matter in a lot of aspects, though, because when you're, say, coaching college football or college basketball, opposed to coaching NBA and coaching NFL, you've got to lead you got to lead, and you've got to discipline differently. Like,
yeah, it's true.
You wouldn't speak to an 18-year-old kid the same way you speak to a grown man.
Right. No, and that is part, and no, that is part of what I kind of expected that you might say, like a counter argument. But if you just had to, like you said, because it's gonna be different for all situations, but what's one thing that you feel
that is compatible?
I guess could not trump all, but what's the one thing that you feel is the most important? What's one thing that is the most universal that you could apply with any team you coach? Like you said, some stuff is going to vary, but there has to be some strong foundational principle that you think has the best chance of applying to both.
That's a really good question. I
actually have a better answer than what I had before. No one player is bigger than the team. Everyone is You may be better player, but you're not better than the team.
Mine would be accountability.
Like, do your job.
Good call.
Do your job. Own your mistakes. You don't have to be perfect, but own your faults, own your mistakes, and be coachable.
I like that.
That is good. Mine was more mine was more along. Justin kind of took the one for me. It was gonna be that just nobody's bigger than the team. Work together. We can accomplish more together than we can individually. Nobody's bigger than the team. What's another fucking one I was gonna use? Fuck. But yeah,
everyone sacrifices for the whole. Not every. You're not.
But
yeah,
here's why that I like your guys' thought philosophy, but here's why that may not work in a professional setting, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna treat, let's say Rui Hachimura the same way you're gonna treat LeBron James.
I mean, but the reality is,
there's truth to that, yes. But my point, I think, what our mindset behind it is, you can't get there. You can't get to the pinnacle without your collaborating players.
I mean, you still gotta win, because I totally get what Casey is saying. You can't just go to a pro athlete and be like, "Hey, man, suck it up." Like, this is a fucking grown ass man with kid. Like, you're gonna have to treat it a little differently. But at the same time, if you're winning, like, look how Bill Belichick got all them dudes to fall in line. Those are grown ass men with mortgages. So it can be done. But I totally get what you're saying, Casey. Like, it's totally different. Like, I totally understand, appreciate that for sure.
Well, it's been a great show, boys.
Definitely has.
Yeah, man, and I appreciate you trying to talk me into a friendly wager, but I've lost too much money, man.
Gambling's anonymous, man. It's a thing. I would highly suggest it if it becomes a problem.
117.98. 117.98.
If them Lakers are going to come to Boston, they better bring a towel.
113.95 Lakers. Also, another thing, telling me to call the number when Mr. fucking table tennis and shit over here. All right, good night, everybody.
Later, brothers.